when you look around the world, mostly high-income countries have inheritance taxes, advanced economies. There are some middle-income countries like Thailand that do have inheritance taxes. So there is a question in a middle-income country like Thailand whether or not an inheritance tax can be effective, and if it can be effective, what kind of inheritance tax can be effective. And let me just make two broader points on this overall from international experience. I think the first one is that in all the countries that have an inheritance tax, the tax itself makes a relatively small contribution to revenues. So in terms of the objective of raising revenues, is not an important tax. The tax can help reduce inequality because often inheritances, large inheritances, are by wealthy people. So it is an important tax sometimes for signaling purposes that the government really is intent in delivering in its commitment to reduce inequality and to tax everybody fairly. And there are a couple of countries that have done that and are doing that effectively. So even if it raises relatively low revenue in total, it can have an equity objective, an inheritance tax. In order for that equity objective to work, implementation is critical, and the design parameters. If the threshold for paying inheritance tax is very high, then you don't capture a lot of people. And so the question is a question of above which level you would have to pay inheritance tax, and there's a question of the rate of the tax, and then a question of enforcement. So what I want to say is it is possible to have an equity tax, a meaningful, inheritance tax, to improve equity even if it will not raise a lot of revenues. In order to do that, these parameters are important: the threshold of the tax rate, and the enforcement and implementation of the tax.